At 19, he was talented, driven, and completely invisible. No big roles, no recognition, just rejection after rejection. Casting rooms where no one remembered his name, auditions that led nowhere, and long days wondering if any of it would ever pay off. Years later, he would become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, admired, respected, and impossible to ignore. But before the fame, before the money, before the red carpets and the awards, Timothée Chalamet was just another kid trying not to give up. Timothée Chalamet didn't grow up surrounded by fame or guaranteed success. He was raised in New York City, a place filled with ambition, creativity, and millions of people chasing something bigger than themselves. His mother was a dancer and performer. His father worked in journalism. And while there was art in his environment, there were no shortcuts, no easy paths into Hollywood. Being close to the industry doesn't mean it opens its doors for you. From a young age, Timothée felt drawn to acting in a way that wasn't casual. It wasn't just something he liked, it was something he needed. There was a pull toward storytelling, toward becoming someone else, toward expressing emotions words couldn't capture. Like most dreamers, he believed that if he worked hard enough, if he stayed consistent, if he kept showing up, eventually something would click. So he started doing what every aspiring actor does. He auditioned again and again and again. Small roles, commercials, anything that gave him a chance to be seen. But what people don't realize is that for every success story, there are hundreds of silent failures that come before it. And Timothée lived inside those silent moments. He walked into rooms hoping this would be the one, only to walk out realizing it wasn't. Over time, rejection stops being surprising and starts becoming expected. That's when it becomes dangerous. Casting directors didn't see a star. They saw someone who was almost right, but not quite. Not strong enough, not unique enough, not what they were looking for. And hearing that over and over again starts to change you. Doubt creeps in. You begin to question your abilities, your choices, your future. You start asking yourself if maybe everyone else is right, if maybe you're not good enough. And that's where most people quit, because it's not the lack of opportunity that breaks people, it's the constant feeling of being overlooked. Feeling invisible hurts more than failing. There were moments where continuing felt pointless, where walking away seemed more logical than pushing forward. Acting isn't just about talent, it's about resilience. It's about hearing no more times than you can count, and still showing up like the answer might finally be yes. That's a level of mental strength most people never reach. At one point, Timothée tried to step away from that uncertainty. He enrolled in college, attempting to follow a more structured, predictable path. Something stable, something safe. But deep down, something felt off. Because when you try to silence something that defines you, it doesn't disappear. It gets louder. The more he tried to ignore acting, the more it pulled him back. It reminded him that this was where he belonged. And that realization is uncomfortable, because it forces you to choose between security and purpose, between what's safe and what feels right. And choosing purpose means accepting uncertainty. It means walking back into a world that has already rejected you and risking being rejected again. But he made that choice. He went back to auditions, back to the unknown, back to chasing something that had given him very little in return so far. And then came the moment that changed everything. Not overnight success, not instant fame, just an opportunity. A role in a film that didn't guarantee anything. A project that required vulnerability, emotional depth, and complete commitment. Call Me by Your Name. At first glance, it was just another chance among many, but this time was different. He wasn't trying to impress. He wasn't trying to fit expectations. He stopped holding back. Every rejection, every doubt, every moment of being overlooked became fuel. Instead of hiding those emotions, he used them. He poured everything into that performance. The insecurity, the longing, the confusion, the intensity. He allowed himself to be fully present in a way he never had before. And when you reach that level of authenticity, something shifts. Because people don't connect with perfection, they connect with truth. And for the first time, the industry saw him as undeniable. When the film was released, the response wasn't quiet. It wasn't gradual, it was explosive. Critics praised him, audiences connected with him. Suddenly, the same doors that had been closed for years started opening. At just 22 years old, he became one of the youngest nominees for Best Actor at the Oscars. The industry that once ignored him now recognized him. But what looks like a breakthrough is really the result of everything that came before it. Years of rejection, doubt, uncertainty. Moments where quitting felt like the only logical option. That's what built the version of him the world finally saw. And even after success, the pressure didn't disappear. Because once you're seen, expectations follow. Now, it's not about getting in the room, it's about proving you deserve to stay. Every role matters, every decision matters. But by then, he had already faced the hardest part. He had already gone through what most people never survive. That's what gave him an edge. Because success isn't just about talent, it's about endurance. It's about who can survive when nothing is working, who can continue without proof that it will pay off. Most people don't fail because they lack ability, they fail because they stop too soon. They walk away right before something shifts, right before effort compounds, right before everything changes. Behind every visible success, there are invisible struggles. Behind recognition, there are years of being overlooked. And behind every person who makes it, there's a version of them that almost quit. Timothée Chalamet's story isn't just about acting, it's about persistence. It's about trusting something inside you even when the world gives you no reason to. It's about continuing to show up with no applause, no validation, no guarantee. Because before the spotlight, there is struggle. Before the applause, there is doubt. Before recognition, there is silence. And most people never make it past that silence. They don't stay long enough to see what happens if they don't quit. Everyone wants the spotlight. Everyone wants the outcome. But very few face what comes before it. The uncertainty, the rejection, the feeling of being invisible. And that's the difference, not talent, not luck, not connections. The difference is who stays when it gets hard, who keeps going when nothing works, who refuses to walk away even when it would be easier. Because in the end, success isn't about the moment you're seen. It's about all the moments you weren't, and still chose to continue. And that is what comes before the glory.